In this video, we are going to discuss about prenatal development. Prenatal development is often divided into three major phases. The first phase, called the period of zygote, lasts from conception through implantation. Developing zygote becomes firmly attached to the wall of uterus. The period of zygote normally lasts about 10 to 14 days. The second phase of prenatal development, the period of the embryo, lasts from the beginning of the third week through the end of the eighth. This is the time when virtually all the major organs are formed and the heart begins to beat. The third phase, the period of fetus, lasts from the ninth week of pregnancy until the baby is born. During this phase, all the major organ system begin to function and the developing organism grows rapidly. The period of the zygote. As the fertilized zygote moves down the fallopian tube towards the uterus, it divides by mitosis into two cells. These two cells and all the resulting cells continue to divide, forming a ball-like structure called blastocyst that will contain 60 to 80 cells within 4 days of conception. Cell differentiation has already begun, and the inner layer of the blastocyst will become the embryo, and the outer layer of the cell will develop into tissues that protect and nourish the embryo. Implantation. As the blastocyst approaches the uterus 6 to 10 days after conception, small berry-like tendrils emerge from its outer surface. When the blastocyst reaches the uterine wall, these tendrils burrow inward, tapping the pregnant woman's blood supply. This is implantation. Once implanted, the blastocyst outer layer rapidly forms four major support structures that protect and nourish the developing organism. One membrane, the amnion, is the water-rich sac that fills with the fluid from the pregnant woman's tissue. The purpose of this sac and its amniotic fluid are the cushion and the developing organism against loss, regulates its temperature, and provide a weightless environment that will make it easier for the embryo to move. Floating in the watery environment is a balloon-shaped yolk sac that produces blood cells until the embryo is capable of producing its own. This yolk sac is attached to a third membrane, the chorion, which surrounds the amnion and eventually becomes the lining of the placenta, a multi-purpose organ that we'll discuss in detail. A fourth membrane forms the embryo's umbilical cord. And the purposes of the placenta. So once developed, the placenta is fed by blood vessels from the pregnant woman and the embryo, although its hair-like villi act as a barrier that prevents these two bloodstreams from mixing. This placental barrier is semi-permeable, meaning that it allows some substances to pass through but not others. Gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide, salt, and various nutrients such as sugars, proteins, and fat are small enough to cross the placental barrier. However, blood cells are too large. The period of the embryo. The period of the embryo lasts from implantation through the 8th week of pregnancy. By the 3rd week, the embryonic disc is rapidly differentiating into 3 cell layers. The outer layer, or ectoderm, will become the nervous system, skin, and hair. The middle layer, that mesoderm, will become the muscles, bones, and circulatory system. The inner layer, or endoderm, will become the digestive system, lungs, urinary tract, and other vital organs such as pancreas and liver. The period of the fetus, the last 7 months of pregnancy or period of the fetus, is a period of rapid growth and refinement of all organ systems. This is the time during which all major organ systems begin to function and the fetus begin to move, sense, and behave, although not intentionally. This is also a time when individuality emerges as different fetuses develop unique characteristics such as different patterns of movement and different facial expressions. The third month. During the third prenatal month, organ systems that were formed earlier continue their rapid growth and become interconnected. For example, coordination between the nervous and the muscular system allows the fetus to perform in interesting manners in its watery environment. Kicking its legs, making fist, twisting its body, although these activities are far too subtle to be felt by the pregnant woman. The digestive and excretory systems are also working together, allowing the fetus to swallow, digest nutrients, and urinate. The fourth and the sixth month development continues at a rapid pace during the 13th through 24th week of pregnancy. At age 16 weeks, the fetus is 8 to 10 inches long and weighs about 6 ounces. From 15 or 16 weeks through about 24 or 25 weeks, simple movement of the tongue, lips increases in complexity and coordination so that the fetus begin to suck, swallow, munch, hiccup, breathe, cough, etc. The seventh through ninth month, the last 3 months of pregnancy, comprise a finishing phase during which all organ systems mature rapidly, preparing the fetus for birth. Indeed, somewhere between 22 and 28 weeks after conception, fetus reach the age of viability, the point at which survival outside the uterus is possible.